Alright, let's talk about California, the state that gave us Hollywood. Avocado toast, a bear hug that could be life-ending. But now, California has cooked up something else. A groundbreaking, first-of-its-kind law to rein in artificial intelligence. While we try to stop smart speakers from ordering 50 gallons of mayonnaise, California is trying to prevent AI from turning the global financial system into a giant sentient paperclip. The law's name: Safe and Secure Innovation for Frontier Artificial Intelligence Models Act, SB 1047. Title so boring it feels like an early, very depressed chatbot. The first major attempt in the United States to put guardrails on the most powerful AI systems. So, what does this big fancy law actually require? Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the technical coleslaw in this legislative picnic basket. The core of the bill targets developers of covered models. Think of them as the jumbo jets of the AI world. Massive, super powerful systems that can cost more than a small nation's GDP to train. The law sets a threshold. If training costs exceed $100 million, you're covered. Congratulations! You've hit the jackpot, and a mountain of paperwork. First, rigorous safety testing. Companies must test models thoroughly before public release. They must test for hazardous capabilities, chemical weapons, biological weapons, nuclear weapons. They must check if the AI could enable a massive cyber attack. They must check if it could evade human oversight and act autonomously. In short, prove it won't become Skynet before it goes online. Operators must be able to shut the AI down entirely if it's an unacceptable risk. Think, a giant red abort button on a rocket. The law admits these systems are so complex we might need to pull the plug hard. It's reassuring and terrifying, like your car having an ejector seat. Finally, transparency and accountability. Companies must report safety test results to the Frontier Model Division. They must certify, under penalty of perjury, that their model is safe. A real human executive has to sign, "I swear on my stock options." This creates personal, potentially criminal, liability. It shifts the burden from a faceless corporation to the people in charge. It makes safety something that keeps the CEO up at night. AI is exploding into every corner of our lives, writing our emails, creating our art, deciding loans or jobs, even serving a cat-sized sombrero ad. Now, a law without teeth is just a strongly worded suggestion like a "please do not feed the pigeons" sign in a park full of people with bread. So, what happens if a company decides to ignore these rules? What if they just forget to install the kill switch or fudge their safety test results? Well, California's bill comes prepared with some pretty hefty consequences. This isn't a slap on the wrist or a sternly written letter. We're talking about serious financial penalties designed to get the attention of companies with quarterly profits in billions. The law is essentially saying, you can afford to build a digital brain, so you can definitely afford to pay a massive fine if it tries to eat our homework. The main stick the law wields is the power to levy massive fines. If a company is found to have violated the act, say, by failing to conduct proper testing, or by releasing a model with known hazardous capabilities, they can be hit with civil penalties. So, how have the tech companies, the very giants this law is meant to govern, reacted? You might expect a full-throated torches and pitchforks-style rebellion, but the response has been far more nuanced, a carefully calibrated mix of public support and private panic. It's a classic corporate two-step. On one hand, no major tech company wants to be seen as the anti-safety guy. That's a terrible look. So, publicly, you hear a lot about welcoming thoughtful regulation and a commitment to safe and responsible AI. The kind of bland, reassuring corporate speak you could print on a throw pillow. Big players like Google, OpenAI, Anthropic have expressed support for AI safety regulation. They'd rather help shape the rules than have them imposed. For them, a law like this can be a competitive advantage, raising barriers that smaller startups can't easily clear. Like a dragon asking for stricter fire-breathing permits. Fine for the dragon, not for the local goblins. You might be in Des Moines thinking, interesting, but it's a California law. Why should I care? Maybe you're more worried about corn prices and whether your neighbor's wind chimes are psychological warfare. Well, here's why. The California effect. California's economy is massive, the fifth largest in the world. Its laws often become the default standard far beyond its borders. As with car emissions and later data privacy, companies build to the strictest standard to simplify operations. Google, Microsoft, OpenAI are global. One model for everyone is simpler. They won't run a safer California version and a looser one elsewhere. The PR nightmare would be instant. The path of least resistance. Make global products California compliant, benefiting you wherever you live. The impact doesn't stop at the US border. The EU has its Comprehensive AI Act, a broad, risk-based approach. China is implementing strict, state-controlled rules. California adds a developer-focused model emphasizing catastrophic risks. Global AI firms now face a patchwork and will tend toward the strictest common denominator. A combined Brussels-California effect could standardize tough rules worldwide. California's law becomes a template others can adapt. Lawmakers abroad can point to SB 1047 and say, here's a concrete proposal. Compute thresholds, testing, a kill switch, and personal liability, ready-made for debate. It pushes the global conversation to include long-term catastrophic risks, not just near-term harms. That question won't be dismissed as science fiction anymore. The ripple is already global. We're on the precipice of a new era. For years, AI has felt like a high-speed train with no driver, with incredible promise and terrifying potential. California's law is the first serious attempt in America to grab the controls, or at least insist the builders prove they've installed some brakes, shifting the question from what could AI do to what should we allow AI to do, treating AI with the seriousness we apply to nuclear power, aviation, and genetic engineering. The law isn't perfect. Critics worry about stifling innovation, arbitrary thresholds, and entrenching giants. Finding balance between speed and safety will be incredibly difficult. This isn't the final word. It's the first bold sentence. California just changed the default setting, from permissionless innovation to precaution and accountability. It demands the architects of our digital future show their work, prove their creations are safe, and take personal responsibility for the power they're unleashing. It forces hard conversations now, not after a crisis. Whether you see it as a safety net or a bureaucratic straitjacket, the Wild West days of AI are ending. This bill fires the starting gun on a global race to regulate AI. With godlike power comes the need for more than good intentions. It requires rules, oversight, and a kill switch just in case.